guys, and welcome back to my channel. I just came back from town and I'm honestly so cold, you guys. It has 8 degrees C outside already. It's literally winter. So I thought the best thing to do for this week would be winter pants. You know the feeling when you have pants on, they look really nice, really elegant, but you're freezing in them. So you would go and put some thermal leggings on so that you're not dying. Well, how about we'll make some pants that do that job for you and you won't have to resort to leggings to put underneath. So this week we are going to do some pants out of wool, which are gonna keep you warm, that are gonna be really elegant and straight leg, since I'm really into straight leg pants at the moment. I have this fabric that I got from my small adventure in town. It's this really pretty classic fabric, 100% wool in this brown color mix. So I'm so excited for these pants and I'm so excited for how they're gonna look in the end. So let's get going. I'm taking my base block that I made myself. If you're interested in how to make your own base blocks for your pants, then go ahead and click in the eye right here and I'll link the video for you. Once I am done with that, I can go ahead and actually make my changes to this pattern, because it would never work on your base block directly, obviously. Okay, now that I have everything traced out, I'm going to have to figure out what I will be doing. Now, the first thing that I always do, because I just don't like the fit of the base block generally, is to make this a bit wider, like to go out here a tiny bit more. And then another thing is, since I want to do straight leg, the pant legs might already work, but I'm not sure about that yet. I'm sure that I want to have a dividing line in the front though. I can go ahead and do that. I'm just gonna measure my knee line and then just divide it by 2. Same goes for the hem. And I'll just carry the line up until the waistline right here. And now I can, first of all, cut this apart afterwards once I'm done with the pattern. And then second of all, put the dart that is still in here onto this line right here. I'll have to redraw the legs of the dart once I'm done with the pattern, as these need to be the same length. And honestly, I think I'm just gonna elongate the leg right here, just make it ease into the inner leg seam and try out the pattern and see how I like it, because there's not much that I want to change, honestly. Let's do that. Okay, so these are the pants right now. As you can see, they fit quite well, so there's not too much that I want to do in terms of the fit. But the first thing is, I feel like here is too much volume. So I'm just gonna take out like 1 centimeter here and just work my way up. And make it not too tightly fitted, as I still want to be very comfortable in these pants. And also because the material is a bit thicker. But I'll just take out a tiny bit of the hip curve right here, because it's a bit too much. I think the height is also really cool. I don't think that I need to add a waistband. I think I'm gonna put the waistband into the pants. The leg itself is quite wide, which I like, so I don't think that I'll take out anything here. The only thing is here, the crotch in the booty, right here, the center back, I think needs to go out a tiny bit more, because at the moment it's like too small in here. very awkward just showing you my butt and how it eats my pants, but you know what I mean. So this curve right here needs to be curvier down here, and then I think I want to add a tiny bit more down here. Apart from that, I think I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm gonna make pockets, of course, so they're gonna be, I think, inseam pockets. So I have 4 centimeters waistband, and I would like to put them to here, maybe down to here. And I think it would look really nice if I'll make something like this to go here. Also, the pants won't have a front opening. I'm gonna put an invisible zipper in the center back because I want to have a clean front, and I'm gonna add buttons right here, something like that. And I think having no front opening right here just makes the design like a tiny bit cleaner. So I'm gonna have a zipper in the center back. Yeah, but apart from that, I think this is already done. I really love my base block. It just really works out every time. So if you haven't made yourself a base block for your pants, go ahead and click the link and follow my tutorial because it's worth it. So I prepared my pattern now, and I also did these things that you need to add to your pattern. So I made the pockets, I made a pocket flap, which is just for aesthetics. I made another pocket flap for the back for aesthetics, and then also my waistband. And for the front pocket, I wanted to explain a bit how it works. So you have 4 different pieces: the upper pocket, the lower pocket, I guess, the pocket facing, and then also the pocket flap. Now, how these work together, you see all of the notches right here that basically describe what's happening here. So the pocket facing goes on top of the lower pocket, so the bigger one without the cutout, just like this, which will sit on your body. So where you put you would basically put your hand in like this. And since the opening is right here, you want to have some sort of facing onto your pocket fabric, which usually is a different kind of fabric than your outer fabric. Like this is some sort of cotton fabric, thin. So you want to have some facing here so that the pocket fabric is not showing. So this is this piece, which will be cut out of your fascia fabric. And then this here is the outer pocket, the upper, I don't know. So this goes on top here, and you will go into the pocket like this. So this will be folded in half, on like the fabric will be folded in half once everything's cut out, and this will be placed onto this cutout right there. And you see that there is a lot more fabric in the pocket flap than needed. That's just security. You're gonna cut this off once you're done putting the pocket flap onto the pants. And the pocket flap also gets attached to the front pant leg. So I have mine cut in half. So this is just half. There is another piece here, and this will sit right here, just like this. And this is the layers basically of the pockets for these kinds of pants, just so that you see what's going on right there. So these 3 layers go on top like this. Then this here, this onto here as well. Yeah, and that's it. I'm going to show you, of course, how to sew this as well. But this is just for understanding. And for the back piece, you're going to find the placement for the back pocket flap, which is right here. And what you're going to do is mark this line, because this is the line that you'll have to transfer onto your pattern. So this is where your back pocket flap will be attached to. This is also too big. That's also just for security. We're gonna draw on the width of this in just a second once we're doing this. But just so that you know, because once you close the dart, this will be at an angle, and obviously in the real pants we're going to have a straight line. So you're going to have to draw on this line at a 90-degree angle from the dart seam, and then we're going to put this on here also on fold. And to have some sort of backing, we have this piece right here, the back pocket facing, which is going to sit right there, and it's also too big. Like this is a thing for pockets like this. They're just too big to be cut off later on once we're done with it. So this is going to sit just like this, in half, this here in half, and this is going to be like this. And then there's going to be an opening right here. So this is going to be a fake pocket. We're just going to have a 2 centimeter wide opening. It's going to be sewn right there. and this is the backing for it so that we are not going to have a hole. Actually, I was thinking, if you're interested in how to make these parts and like what's there to know, you know, in order to make all the specific parts for pants, let me know down in the comments and I'll be sure to like make a technical video about this so that you can also do that at home if you're interested. Okay, after being done cutting everything out, we're gonna start with the back pockets. The first thing that you want to do is close the back dart. You want to iron the back dart towards the center back. Let's prepare the back pocket flap. The first thing that you want to do is actually iron it in half. Now we're gonna mark a whole bunch of things onto those pocket flaps. So the first thing is the height of the pocket flap, which is in my case 2 centimeters. And then also the width of the final pocket, which is 13 centimeters. So we're gonna mark that as a rectangle with the seam allowance being on the open side. Now we're also going to prepare the back pant leg, and we're also going to draw the stitching line that we just marked on the pocket flap on the pant leg. We are going to angle that at 90 degrees from the dart seam. Also mark the width of 13 centimeters, and then we can take our pocket flap and place it right on top of that line. We're going to pin like really precise edge to edge, making sure that everything is right on top of each other, and then also put another pin in the middle just for good measure. And then we're gonna stitch those two pieces together, trying to be as exact as possible and trying to stitch right on top of that stitching line. So right here. And be sure that when you put your needle down that you're gonna stitch right in that edge right there. And then you can go ahead and stitch along that pocket flap right on top of that marked stitching line and right in the other edge. Now when you're done with that, it should look like that. You can flip up the pocket flap and mark the upper edge. That should be right at 2 centimeters and then also 13 centimeters wide. So you're basically just transferring those measurements onto the upper side. You also want to draw the center line of which is at 1 centimeter, and then also close the rectangle that you are building up basically, and draw these small triangles to the inside at around 1 centimeter, because those triangle points are where you want to cut the pocket open. So be sure to only cut from triangle point to triangle point. Those points then get connected with the edges of your triangle. Be sure to be very exact, don't cut further. And when you flip up the pocket flap and fold the edges to the inside, to the wrong side of your pants, and also the triangles to the wrong side of your pants, it already looks like your piped pockets that you want to make. Now make sure to iron everything nicely. Ironing in between steps for piped pockets is key to success, let me tell you. And that would also wash away the marker lines that we still have there. We're gonna iron first the lower edge, and then also iron the triangles that we're then gonna pin to the pocket flap by folding the pants right sides together to unfold the triangles. Put a pin in and then just stitch the triangles to the pocket flap. You also want to be very exact with this, so take all the time that you need and do it as exact as you can. Next step, you guessed it, is ironing everything. Look how it already looks like a finished pocket. I'm so happy with the result already. And the last step is taking your back pocket facing, turning the whole pants wrong side up, and then pinning the pocket facing right sides together with that last open raw edge. And you also want to be very exact with that and align all of the seam allowances, all of the edges, everything that there is perfectly with the pocket facing, so that once you stitch everything, it's going to be a really neat line as well. And this is what the finished pocket looks like. Now there is still an opening. If you would go inside the pocket, you would still come out right there. So of course you want to stitch the pocket together as the final step. I am doing that by overlocking the edges already, so I'm basically doing it 2 in 1 step, but just close all of the remaining edges of the back pocket facing. And that is what the pocket looks like finished from the inside and from the outside. As you can see, I also added a small cube button. Now let's already continue with the front pocket. So for the front pocket facing, you want to overlock the round edge. As you can see right there, I did it with both pieces, and those will be attached onto the lower, like the full pocket, I guess, piece. So you're just gonna stitch right into the seam allowance, and then once you come to your overlock seam, just go and stitch inside this overlock seam right there. And now just for orientation, the pockets with this cutout will be turned wrong sides up onto the pocket. But before we do anything, we want to prepare the front pocket flap. We're going to iron it in half, which will be placed right there into the opening, but not yet. This is just for orientation. So just put these away for now, the pockets, and take your front piece, the one with the cutout as well, because that is where the front pocket flap will be sewn onto. So you want to put your pocket flap with the raw edges together with the cutout, so just like this. And then you're going to pin it to the front piece, and make sure to put a pin right in the corner there, which should be 1 centimeter from the one edge and then 1 centimeter also from the other edge. So basically you want to mark your stitching point right there, because that's exactly where you want to stitch to, and then also cut into the fabric accordingly. So just be very precise and cut a corner right there, because then you can turn around the whole edge and sew the smaller corner of the pocket flap also onto the smaller corner of your front piece. And this is what it should end up looking. You want to give it a good press, and then once it's pressed, you can go ahead and cut off the excess up there of the pocket flap. Before we attach the pockets to the front piece though, we want to do exactly the same with the pocket piece that has the cutout. So you basically want to do exactly the same as you did with your front piece. You're going to turn it right sides together, and then put a needle right in that corner as well, pin it to the pocket flap, and then stitch both pieces together. Also cut into the corner just as you did with your front piece, and you should end up having pockets that look like this from the inside as well. Now you want to give it another press. This side does not need to be perfect because it's on the inside, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like, just put the pocket on there. You can turn it around and actually pin the other pocket onto the front piece. There should be notches everywhere that you can orientate yourself at. And of course you want to close the pocket itself. I did that just with an overlock stitch, but you can of course also do that with a normal stitch. And all of the pockets are done, so the worst part or the most difficult part of those pants are completely done. Now Now take your middle front pieces and put them right sides together onto the front dividing line and stitch both of your front pieces together. Once I was done with that, I overlocked the seam and then also top stitched the seam towards the side seam. So that makes this really nice and neat seam in the center front. I gave it a good press. And it's already time to put both front pieces together. So I'm putting right sides together and aligning the center front line, which will be then stitched together. I also overlocked the seam when I was done. You want to iron the center front line to either one of the sides. And then grab your back pieces that also get attached together now, but we're gonna have a zipper in the center back. Therefore, you're gonna find a notch in the center back line, and you're gonna only sew from that notch towards the inner leg seam basically, and leave the other part towards the waistline open, because that's where the zipper gets attached to. Because there is a zipper in the center back line, we wanna iron the center back seam open, because that's how it will end up laying when the zipper is in. Now with the back and the front pieces already completely done, we can put the front piece right side up and put the back piece right side down, so right sides together, and pin the side seams together in order to stitch both pant sides, I guess, together finally. I also want to mention that I do overlock always in between all of the steps. As you can see, there is always the overlocked edge after I am done and when I'm ironing basically. So I am overlocking this raw edge together after it's sewn together, as you can see right here, and then I press it towards the back piece. Also make sure when you are putting the side seams together that you catch the pockets in the side seam, because those need to be sewn into the side seams up until that corner that is in the pattern. You're going to see if you have the pattern in front of you, there is this one corner. After done with that, we can go ahead and put the inner leg seam together. So you just want to align both the front and the back pieces together over the crotch line and then back to the other leg and just stitch both pieces together. I also overlock after this and iron the seam allowance also towards the back piece. Now, before we can put the center back zipper in, we will have to prepare the waistband because we need to sew one corner to the pants. So the first thing that we're going to prepare is ironing the waistband in half. And once done with that, we are ironing the seam allowance of one side into the waistband. I just press the whole thing again just so that everything lays correctly, and then once done with that, we can go ahead and pin that raw edge that is not ironed up onto the pants themselves. So we're going to start in the center back where the opening is and just go around the whole waistline of the pants and pin the waistband onto the pants. Now, you saw me actually put notches into the center front. That's why I am able to align the center front now. That is just half of the waistband, so make sure to also mark that notch before pinning the waistband onto your pants, as it's just way easier. And now we can stitch the waistband to the pants. It's zipper time. We're not going to finish the waistband just yet. We need to put the zipper in, and in order to do that, we are going to iron the seam allowance of the waistband into the waistband, so up. That's just so that it will be tucked away neatly and not visible anymore once we're completely done with everything. This is the zipper I will be using. You will need a zipper that is 30 to 35 centimeters long. I did not find a zipper of that length, so I had to go and buy a 60 centimeter long invisible zipper. That's fine too, as long as it's more than the length that you need, you can always cut it off. Now you want to find your plastic stopper and pin that right below the folded line that we just pressed out on the waistband, and then you can go ahead and pin the zipper all the way down to where the opening starts. Also make sure to pin the seam allowance up as you just pressed it. Now I'm changing my foot to my invisible zipper foot, and that is making it really easy to put the invisible zipper in. Still, I'm kind of opening the teeth of the zipper to get the neatest result possible. So when I close my zipper, it should not be visible at all. The easiest method that I found to transfer the positions of your zipper to the other side that you will be sewing next is to put pins in as like markers, I guess, to know where the positions mirror on the other side. So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm trying to be really neat, and I'm taking my time to do this because this will be a dead giveaway in the end. If they are not aligning perfectly, I would redo them. So I'm trying to do my best right here and pinning the zipper in as well as possible. After a quick inspection, I am fine with the result. The upper edge looks really neat, and the waistband is maybe 0.5 millimeter off, nothing that a good press couldn't fix. And also the lowest point where the seam actually is sewn together right there is also really nice. So I am happy with it, I am leaving it. And also the zipper is pretty much invisible, so that's really nice. The next step is to finish the waistband. So what you want to do is like turn out the seam with the zipper band and then fold down your waistband so that it is right sides together with your zipper band. Then you want to leave the seam allowance folded up as you pressed it previously and put pins in to hold it in place right there. Because now you can just stitch along that edge right there and basically hide that upper edge of the zipper inside the waistband. You can do that with your normal presser foot. I resorted to my one-sided foot though, because it's a bit easier since the teeth are out of the way and not touching the presser foot. And this is what it should end up looking like. You can just turn the whole thing over so that the teeth come out and then just close the zipper so that you can inspect it. To me, it looks pretty good, so I am happy with the result. And the next step will be finishing the waistband. So you just want to put the folded edge of your waistband just on top of the stitches that you previously did to attach the waistband to the pants and hide them, because we are going to stitch from the outer side, from the right side of the pants and just into the ditch. So we're basically stitching just on top of the stitches that we just did. So if you put the folded edge just on top of it, you will catch the waistband from the outside without looking at it, if that makes sense. So just be really neat and tidy and just pin everything just on top of the stitches, and you should be able to sew the waistband blindly, more or less, because the right side will be up and the pins will be laying down, which you will have to take out, of course, before you stitch over them. Give the whole thing another press so that the waistband looks really tidy. And you can also inspect if you caught the waistband everywhere around your pants. In my case, I did, so I was able to just continue on with my pants. And then I put on those pants and actually realized that they were a tiny bit too big. So I went back to my waistband and opened it in the front where my front dividing line is and like inside of the pockets, and added folds and cut down the waistband accordingly. I think I cut them down 4 centimeters, so like one whole size in the waist, because my waist tends to be more on the side of an XS, whereas my hips are an S. So I used S as a size, but forgot that I have to shrink down my waist, obviously. Nevertheless, that is what they turned out, and I'm pretty happy with the folds in the front anyways. So if you have the same problem, you can just put folds in the front and then cut down the waistband accordingly and have them fit your waist as well if you're between sizes just like me. The last thing is to hem the pants. I folded the pant legs up 4 centimeters. I overlocked them previously as well, and then just stitched at I think 3 centimeters and gave them a good press, and that's it. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I am really in love with the pants, and I'm going to show you, of course, some videos of me wearing them so you can see how they look on a person. But before that, I am just gonna ask you to hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't already. I am uploading videos just like this or other videos all about designing, pattern making, and fashion in general every Sunday. So go ahead and subscribe so you'll never miss a video, and then also ring the bell so you get notified whenever I post next. Also, go ahead and follow me on my socials. The handle is exactly the same as here on my YouTube, so if you haven't checked out, for example, my Instagram yet, you should do so. I am posting lots of behind the scenes about my work, of course, my life, my cat, anything that there might be, so go ahead and give me a follow there. Just another thing though, before I show you the pants worn, if you haven't already checked out my fashion school that I launched a few weeks ago, go ahead and click the link below and check out my courses. I am teaching you pattern making live with 10 to 15 students to get a really personal experience, and you can ask all the questions that you might have about pattern making. I will be showing you to do some blocks first and foremost, but I want this to be really like a school, so we are going to go and progress from basic blocks to more advanced things. And yeah, if you took all of the classes, the goal would be for you to be able to make your own patterns and your own clothes. So go ahead and check out the first link in the description. The first class will already be next week, so you have only 1 week to enroll in my first class, which you should definitely do. I am super excited to launch this and to have my first live class with you guys. Thank you already to all of the people who already enrolled. I am super excited, and I have a small little discount for everybody who is just not sure yet. So go ahead and check that out, first link in the description. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you next Sunday. Bye guys!